Alright, this video I want to state that I practice Jeet Kune. Now what am I trying to say by it? What am I trying to say by saying that? You know, when I think about it, it's important for there to be an understanding. And it's clear that I've been heavily inspired by Bruce Lee. But I've learned from a lot of people in my life, you know, that have taught me a lot. And a lot of these people, they themselves have been inspired by Bruce Lee. But the problem with giving credit to people, real people that you've met in your life that have really helped you on your path, is it doesn't really provide much reference when nobody knows who they are, even though that they helped you so much. Like, I've had a few martial artists that I've met in college that really helped me get to where I'm at now. But the problem is nobody knows who they are. And that's why over and over Bruce Lee's name's thrown out there all the time, because that's one of the very few people out there that people know, you know, when it comes to people, because there's just so few martial artists in this world, and there's just even fewer martial artists that become well known. Now, when I say I practice Jeet Kune, it's something that anybody could say. It's like somebody saying that they practice basketball, they practice the piano, they practice martial arts, they practice breakdancing. Who can stop anybody from saying anything? When I say I practice Jeet Kune, that means, in my eyes, I really do, because I really do study Bruce Lee thoroughly. You know, he's one of the very few people that I've put so much of my time into analyzing his entire life as far as what is available to the public when it comes to multimedia. Clearly, I've watched all his movies numerous times. I've read all the books that I could find. I watched his documentaries. I analyzed more deeply the teachings of where he pointed towards. The key words that he would use to spark your journey into Eastern philosophy, like the Tao of Jeet Kune, Zen, Buddha, Eastern philosophy, J. Krishnamurti. I'd go deeper and deeper into the Eastern philosophy. Bruce Lee was the start point of my spiritual journey, and that will never change. It was he who introduced me to Eastern philosophy, and now I've just gone deeper and deeper and deeper into it, in which I've been introduced to the Master Osho, and I keep studying Osho currently. But I've never forgotten the person that introduced me to Eastern philosophy, to the Tao, to Lao Tzu, to Chuang Tzu, to Leitsu, to Osho. So I practice Jeet Kune Do. And what does Jeet Kune Do mean? It just simply means the way of the intercepting fist. Now when I say I practice Jeet Kune Do, it's not too different than me saying I practice martial arts. But it's being more specific in the sense of being more direct into expressing in a very short phrase who is my biggest inspiration in the martial arts. Now, if I said that I practice Wing Chun, that wouldn't be accurate, because I don't. I don't know anything about Wing Chun. I really don't. I don't have really any books on Wing Chun. I don't even know the name of the person who created it. I don't know when it was created, the system. I don't know. I don't really care. Wing Chun doesn't mean nothing to me. Now, when I say that I practice Chole Phut, that still wouldn't be accurate. I could make the statement that I used to practice Chole Phut. Maybe I can make that statement, but it's still not accurate, because that is not the foundation of what I do. To more specifically state my foundation, it would have to be Jeet Kune Do. If I said I practice Aikido, it wouldn't be accurate. I'd be lying, because I got maybe just one book on the founder of Aikido. Maybe I've read 2 of his books in my entire life. I've never seen any of his movies. I don't even know if he has movies. I haven't seen his documentary. I don't give a damn about Steven Seagal. He's not an inspiration to me at all. And he's supposed to be one of the marketers of Aikido. It would not be accurate for me to say I practice Aikido. If I said I practice wrestling, that would not be accurate either, because I don't wrestle. That's not what I do. That's not what I care to do. Now, I've wrestled before, but it's not my passion. I've never been a high school wrestler or a junior high wrestler. I don't wrestle with people every day. Never have, never will. But I've done it before. But just because I've done it before doesn't mean that I'm going to claim and say that this is what I practice. No. Now, would it be accurate if I said I practice basketball? That wouldn't be accurate either, because ever since I've gotten into the martial arts, I stopped practicing basketball. So that wouldn't be accurate. I could say that I used to practice basketball. Now, that's more accurate, Jeet Kune Do, because I feel that's where the foundation of my art is. That's the underlying foundation. But I gotta be very careful how I use that label, because I really do feel that nearly every single label out there that's put out there for the public to use is corrupted and will be corrupted. And there are a lot of people out there that say, I practice Jeet Kune Do. And because Bruce Lee is not alive to regulate who should and should not say that they practice Jeet Kune Do, it it can become very complex. But I think you gotta be careful how you use that label. Because even if I feel that I'm representing Jeet Kune the way that it should be, it's impossible for me to be certain, because the founder of Jeet Kune has not authorized me to make that statement. Therefore, it is essential that any practitioner of Jeet Kune creates his own label to promote and market to the masses in order to build up his own brand name, his own reputation, and essentially introduce his own path that's leading to the same source, but his own path. You know, if Bruce Lee was alive and he could certify certain people to represent his art, that'd be a different story. But he's not alive. He's dead. So anybody could take his label, run with it, destroy it, manipulate it, corrupt it. So therefore, the old label needs to die and a new label needs to be created. But respect and recognition towards the old label must be given. It's absolutely necessary so that people will understand where your roots are when it comes to the martial arts. And I feel that my roots are in Bruce Lee's teachings. Even though I did not meet him directly, but you don't need to meet somebody directly to be inspired by somebody to be who you are today. Because I can guarantee you that there's a lot of people out there that have seen my videos, that have been influenced by me in some way or another, but they've never met me directly. And that goes to prove that a person's teachings go beyond just beyond your lifetime. Because it doesn't matter if I die right now, tomorrow, or whenever. If somebody sees a video that I've made and they learn something from it, they've learned something from the energy that I put out there while I was breathing. And that's what Bruce Lee did to me. His writings reached out to me decades after his death. But in the same way, the writings of Lao Tzu reached out to me thousands of years after his death. And it's the same thing with Jesus. His teachings reached out to millions, if not billions of people after his death. So nobody can ever tell me that you need to meet somebody face to face in order to learn from somebody. So I'll give credit to where credit's due. You know, I've met a lot of people that claim that they practice Taekwondo. and I've trained with a lot of them. But it doesn't mean that I practice Taekwondo. That's not my foundation. I know where my foundation is, and my foundation is Jeet Kune. But, as I stated, I try not to use that label too often because I don't want to corrupt it. I don't want to contribute towards this corruption too much. So I always say Freddy's Modern Kung Fu because then I'm representing myself and my label, what I created. And if I damage my own label, so be it. And I have. You know, with my past videos and my past actions and my past expression, there's people out there that really don't like me, still. But at least I corrupted my own label. I corrupted my own lane. I destroyed my own business. I burned down my own business. It was my own doing. It was my own home. And I destroyed it. And then I had to rebuild it. But that's okay. That's my label. But for me to do that to somebody else's label, of someone of whom I really respect, I have no right to do that. Under the name of Jeet Kune, I cannot make all these statements talking about BJJ, wrestling, UFC, MMA. I can't make those statements because I am not Bruce Lee. I cannot stand there and make those statements. I cannot sit there and make those statements under his label. I can only make those statements under my own label. So I gotta be very careful. I always try to be very careful how I use Jeet Kune. Now, I could say that I practice Jeet Kune. Anybody could say that they practice Jeet Kune, just like anybody could say that they practice basketball. But I cannot say that I teach Jeet Kune. I cannot say that. Because in my eyes, the only person that could truly teach Jeet Kune is Bruce Lee. So if you want to learn Jeet Kune, then learn from Bruce Lee. Watch his movies, read his books. They're out there. He might not be breathing physically alive, but his teachings are out there and you can still learn from him. So if you want to learn Jeet Kune, then learn from him. But if you come to me, you're not learning Jeet Kune because I'm not him, but you're learning my expression, which I labeled Freddy's Modern Kung Fu. I'm a different person. Even though I've been inspired by him, I'm still a different person. Now, there can be millions of people out there that say that they practice Jeet Kune. Just like there can be millions of people out there that say that they have been inspired by Michael Jordan to play basketball, but there will be a very select few that will actually be at the level of where Michael Jordan was. So there could be millions of people out there that claim that they practice Jeet Kune, but there will be a very select few that will represent the level that Bruce Lee was able to achieve during his lifetime. So if you liken Michael Jordan to be a Bruce Lee, or Bruce Lee likened to Michael Jordan, then you might have two people that might have claimed that they've been inspired by Michael Jordan to actually represent that claim, to be close to his level, like a Kobe Bryant and a LeBron James. And then there's going to be millions of other people out there that just claim that they've been inspired, but they haven't really drawn too far. So I think it's very important to be self-aware and to be aware to not corrupt this label. So I cannot say that I teach Jeet Kune, and respectfully, in my opinion, I do not believe anybody should be claiming that they teach Jeet Kune. Even if they're talented in what they do, I still do not believe that they should claim that they teach Jeet Kune. I feel the right way to do it is that they teach their own Kung Fu, their own martial art, and they have been inspired by Jeet Kune. Or they could say that they practice Jeet Kune. But I really don't feel that they could say that they teach it. They could say that they teach their own expression of the martial arts. Or maybe they could say that they teach their own expression of the Jeet Kune. But still, they gotta be careful. I think it's very important for anybody that's been inspired by Bruce Lee to learn to find themselves, to express themselves and to be themselves, to be self-made. So the real Jeet Kune is like a Bruce Lee, or not like a Bruce Lee, more like a Jet Li, who built his own name, his own reputation. Or even a Jackie Chan or a Donnie Yen build his own name, his own reputation. So people know who you are, your unique self. We have different names for a reason. We all look different for a reason. We all have different fingerprints for a reason. So express your unique self within the martial arts. Give credit to the people that deserve the credit. But don't hide behind labels unless you get the permission of the person to use that label. I feel that that's the only way to do it right. If you truly respect this person's teachings. I mean, because if you look at the way businesses are governed, you have to follow the law when it comes to that. You can't just wake up one morning and just claim, hey, I'm an employee to Apple Computers, when you're not, because you're obviously lying. Or you say that I'm an employee to Google, because you're not, you're lying. Or you say, wake up, I'm employed as a police officer, that you're in the military, even when you're not. I mean, you're just lying. You're not being authentic. You're not being honest. You're a liar. So I think we need to give the same respect towards a person's art. That you can't say you represent a person's art when the creator of the art did not give you permission or authorize you to be qualified to represent that art. You can say that you practice it, you can say that you study it, but you cannot say that you represent it. That is something completely different, and we gotta be aware of that. So I try to practice awareness when it comes to using these labels. But it is hard to reach out to the people out there without using certain labels. Because everybody's going to ask, what do you practice? What do you do? Where did you learn? And you say, oh, I do my own thing. I practice my own way. But they don't know who you are. You still didn't answer their question to fulfill their curiosity. Because they don't even know who you are. They have nothing to reference. But when you say Kung Fu, it brings something to mind. But at the same time, it might not be what you want them to bring into the conversation. You say Kung Fu and then they start thinking about Kung Fu Panda. Well, that's clearly not what I do. But then that's what they're thinking about. But no, that's not what I do. So then, if I say Bruce Lee, then they're like, oh, I like Bruce Lee. And then now you got a connection. Now they're like, hey, this guy likes Bruce Lee, I like Bruce Lee. Hey, maybe he has something to teach me, because I like Bruce Lee, he likes Bruce Lee. Maybe there's something there. We have something in common. So basically when you say Jeet Kune, it's like another way of referencing Bruce Lee. And I'm going to be careful with these labels. I will. I'm not going to say Wing Chun. I'm not going to say I practice Wing Chun. Hell no. That's not what I do. That's lying. I'm not going to say that I practice Jiu-Jitsu. Absolutely no. I'm not going to say that I practice Judo. I'm not going to say that I practice boxing. I'm not going to say that I practice kickboxing. What I will say is I practice Kung Fu. Because Kung Fu means that inner discipline to better yourself. I clearly practice Kung Fu. And I practice my own Kung Fu. But people don't know who I am. Not everybody. So then I try to direct them. Alright, go to my website. Check out my website. Check out my videos. This is what I do. This is what I practice. This is my own way. Get to know me. But the truth is, the foundation of what I do is from Jeet Kune, is from the Tao, is from Bruce Lee, is from Buddha, is from Lao Tzu, is from Osho. That's the truth. So, that's what I see. That's how I see it. Labels, as we age, as we get older, we gotta be more careful how we use certain labels. We gotta be careful what we promote and what we don't promote. I'm not gonna be making videos out there promoting people to drink alcohol. That's not what I do. Or to take drugs. That's not what I do. I'm not going to tell people to take steroids. That's not what I do. I'm not going to tell people to practice jujitsu because that's not what I do. This stuff is not for me. MMA, that's not what I do. Football, that's not what I do. I'm going to promote the things that are important to me, things that I've been influenced by. I make the key words all the time. Bruce Lee, Osho, Tao, meditation, Zen, Buddha, J. Krishnamurti. Eastern philosophy. But it's hard to label what I do. It really is hard to label it. But I hope that through time I'll get better at expressing through language a better idea of some of the things that I do, some of the things that I practice, some of the things that I promote. But I want to make a clear difference that what I do is not combat sports. It is not MMA. It is not WrestleMania. It is not UFC. It is not cage fighting. What I practice is martial arts. What I practice is Kung Fu. What I practice is Jeet Kune. What I practice is meditation. What I aim towards is love, is peace, is compassion. What I aim towards is nonviolence. I want to make that very clear to the people out there. As clear as it could get. So that there's no doubt what my stance is when it comes to that. And I think that's the part of Bruce Lee's expression that is up in the air. People don't know. They think, would he have supported MMA, the UFC, and cage fighting? Would he have done it? They ask that question. And then his daughter goes ahead and throws him into a UFC video game. To have him throw on some underwear to fight in a cage. When anybody could do anything to a person that's dead to assassinate his character, to assassinate his reputation. He's not alive to defend himself. So when we use another person's name, another person's creation after his death, we need to be extremely careful of what we do. Because our decisions will corrupt their teachings. So I tell everybody that has any question on what his stance would have been for what's currently happening to the martial arts, I tell everybody to study him thoroughly. Make sure you watch all his movies, read all his books, and let all those teachings seek deep inside of your mind and in your spirit. And through time, you might have an understanding of his inner truth. And then you can tap into your inner truth to decide for yourself whether or not what's going on in the martial arts right now is real martial arts or not.